Welcome back to Tip TV Finance in conjunction with TradingView. I'm joined by Rajan Dhall. He's a technical analyst, a chart man. He works for, TradingView, according to the documents. Welcome, Raj, to the show.
Thank you.
We've got 4 slides. Let's get straight into the nitty-gritty. The Aussie US dollar, what are the key components on this technical analysis?
Yeah, so I'm still on the long side on Aussie US dollar. I mean, since Trump's come out and talked about infrastructure spending and commodities have been rallying, so I'm still long in my bias. So what I've done is on this chart I've put some levels on the downside for support to look out for if anybody does want to get into longs. But the particular level that I'm looking at there is the one with the 50% fib line that confluences nicely with a strong support level. So that's the level that I'm looking at.
50% retracement level is a very big level in terms of the technicals.
Yeah, I mean the golden ratios for Fibonacci's are the 38.2 and the 61.8, but in this case the 50% Fibonacci level matches the best with the support levels on the chart. So that's the one that's in focus for me. And like I said, I've still got a long bias on this pair. So I put the support levels in and the internal trend lines in to look out for levels for rejection. So looking for a move back up.
Okay, buyer for choice. Let's move on to the second slide. Carpetright PLC, a UK equity. Which indices is this in?
So this one is in the FTSE 250.
Okay.
Had a really hard time recently. You can see it's a really firm downtrend here. But the thing that's interested me is where the value area is with the volume profile on the right hand side. So with the volume profile, that tells us where prices traded the most in terms of how many contracts sold or bought at that level. So where I've put the little price tag for the value area, I think we can try and come back to test it, but there's a little bit of traffic in the way with the 250 level and the 300 level. They're both psychological levels that are in the way, and it might prove to be a bit tricky ahead of there.
Okay, so basically you're going bottom fishing.
Yeah, basically. I mean, sometimes it is very difficult to catch a falling knife, but this looks like it's basing out, so you can see the volume thickening up at the bottom, and that's what makes me think that it's starting to base out. And if you even look at the volume statistics at the bottom, they are creeping higher as we're being that low. So that's what makes me think that it might come back up.
I always ask 2 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, stop loss if I was thinking about going long here.
Yeah, so this is why I put the price tags in. So the stop loss I'm thinking to be around 145, so just below that support level. If it ever does get tested again, you leave yourself a little bit of room.
Okay.
And then first target 250, second target 300.
And second question, in terms of 250 upside target time frames for that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a long-term chart here. So this is the daily chart. So I'm probably thinking 2-3 weeks for the first one to be tested, and maybe a month and a half to 2 months for the second one to be tested.
Understood. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Shell and BP. What are your observations here?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the spread between the 2 companies here, and I will be looking at oil next. So as we've reached the OPEC agreement and everything gets tested around there, they're looking into what's going on about whether the companies are telling the truth about how much they're producing and everything. So we've seen a bit of a clawback while these investigations are going on.
Okay.
But I'm still on the long side for these 2 companies because they have been undervalued, previously. So they're both weekly charts. So I've put the zones in where I'm looking for support. And also you can see, again, I've used the volume profile on the right hand side for the thicker areas of the bell curve, where I think it can be tested to push back up. So I've highlighted all of those levels there for me to look at taking along again and follow the trend to compound on this move on the way higher.
Okay, so you're a buyer for choice on Shell and BP?
I am, yeah, but I do think there is a bit of a pullback, and because it's a weekly chart, it could pull back
so
quite
buy
a lot.
into the weakness. Understood. Yeah. And let's wrap up with the last chart. WTI, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, so this I've been looking at in terms of like an Elliott wave, a bit of a longer term view on the weekly chart on the left hand side. So the good thing about this is that the 161 extension and then the 38.2, they match up almost perfectly.
Which are key Fibonacci levels,
exactly. Right? So both of them are key. So they match up perfectly at the 59.60 level. So that's why I've put that in with the price label for the long-term target. But if we're looking at the shorter-term time frame on the right-hand side, which is the daily chart, I've put on the RSI, there's a bit of a triangle formation here, or you call it wedge formation, whatever you want to call it. I'll be looking for maybe a small breakdown in price, probably where my entry would, where I'd like it to be, would be that 49.26 level. And then when the RSI downtrend line on the indicator breaks to the upside, that's when I would take a long personally. So obviously it's a very technical play here because I've gone for the Elliott wave on the left-hand side for my long-term target of 59.60, but my entry I want at 49.26, so it gives you a very good risk-to-reward ratio if you take the trade on the daily chart for the longer-term time frame on the weekly chart.
So basically buy the dips.
Exactly, again, yeah.
Raj, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you, miss.